What's up guys, it's Kara Corey here, and I'm here with another great recipe for you. Today I'm going to utilize the Apple Pie MTS Whey. If you guys have not checked this out yet, it's a perfect protein for the winter time. It just has like those flavors of cinnamon and apple pie to it. It just makes you feel all warm and cozy. So today I'm going to make a delicious higher protein baked oatmeal utilizing this, and it's going to be nice and gooey in the inside, but have like a nice crust on the outside and taste amazing. So pretty simple recipe. To get started, I am going to use about 3/4 a scoop of my whey. You can use a full scoop depending on whatever you want. It'll still turn out okay, but I'm doing about 3/4 a scoop, maybe a little bit more. And I'm going to weigh this out. I'm going to use, for my portion size, I'm going to use a 1/2 cup of oats, but you guys can adjust this if you're looking for a higher carb meal. You could definitely add a full cup of oats if you want. I'm going to add in 40 grams. You're going to want to preheat your oven to 350 degrees, which is just what went off in the background. And I should stop and mention, for this recipe, I'm going to use a ramekin. This is just a ceramic dish that you can use in the oven. It kind of makes it a nice, perfect portion for you. So if you guys don't have one of these, pick one up. You could always bake it in any other oven-safe baking dish, but I like this because it makes it a perfect portion for me, and it just feels like you're eating your own little like cake of some sort. So it just feels more satisfying that way. Sometimes the dishes make a difference, believe it or not. Okay, so I've got my oats and my protein. To sweeten it up a little bit, I am going to use the Splenda brown sugar blend. Optional, use any substitution here that tastes sweet. A lot of people ask what they can use. You guys can change it up with whatever sweeteners you like. I'm going to use 1 full teaspoon of packed Splenda brown sugar. Okay, throw that in there. I'm going to add just a pinch of sea salt in here. Okay, and then to make it rise, I'm going to use baking powder, and I'm going to use 1/4 a teaspoon of that. And those are most of our dry ingredients. I'm just gonna kind of give this a little mix up right now. Mix everything in there. And then for our wet ingredients, I'm just gonna add I'm not gonna even measure it, but I'm just gonna add about a tablespoon of my sugar-free maple syrup. Again, you can use regular if you like, but this is just gonna add a little more sweetness to it. Now, if you have vanilla extract on hand, go ahead and use that. I'm going to use about a teaspoon. I don't have vanilla extract. I have this vanilla bean paste, this pure vanilla bean paste, which is essentially like the same flavor. It just has some calories in it, which vanilla extract does not. But I'm just going to put in like a little teaspoon to give it that little essence of vanilla with our apple crisp. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is just add in a little milk. You guys can measure it. I find it a pain in the butt to try to measure it tablespoon by tablespoon, especially on camera. But I'm going to just drop a little in here. I'll probably end up using a few tablespoons. And you just basically want to like wet your ingredients. You don't want it to be too soupy. So just kind of add a little at a time until you get the amount you need. Now it already smells delicious. Like the second the milk hit the batter, I could smell the apple pie smell to it. It smells so good. Okay, I'm gonna add just a little bit more fluid in here because what we're gonna add next is some apple to make it even more appley and just to give it a different texture to it. Also, adding in some fresh apple is going to add a little more moisture to this product. Sometimes when you cook with whey protein, it can make things very dry. So it is a fine balance of figuring out the right amount of moisture content without making it too high in fat so that it doesn't bake and get overly dry and like tough. So I chopped up half an apple. It ends up being about 50 grams, and I just chopped it up like really finely. It's up to you if you want it a bit more chunky, but this ends up being about 50 grams of apple. So I'm gonna add that in now. It's actually quite surprising when you chop it up. You can make this bad boy go a long way without adding too many more carbs if you don't want to, so it's nice. So go ahead and stir that up. And if you guys want, you can definitely add some more cinnamon to this recipe, but there are hints of cinnamon already in the MTS apple pie protein. So if you are doing a different protein, you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be watching this channel if you are, but you may want to add a little cinnamon depending on what you use. All right, the last thing I am going to add in here is just some, this is the essence to it as well. I'm going to add in some butterscotch morsels. They smell delicious, and actually you can fit them in your macros pretty nicely. A serving of these guys is 9 carbs and 4 grams of fat, and I'm just gonna do half a serving, and I'm gonna mix. What I'm gonna do is mix some on the inside, and then I'm gonna throw some on top. So I'm gonna do a half a tablespoon, which is 7 grams. Actually, screw that. I'm gonna do a full tablespoon. I got the macros for it. There's 10 grams. Okay, so I'm gonna measure 10 grams on the inside of it. Mix it all up. Smells delicious, and you are all good to go. Make sure you spray your ramekin with some type of non-stick spray, or else you're never gonna get that crusty bitch out of there. So go ahead and put that in your ramekin. Smells so good. Alright, so I have 10 grams of my chips in there. I'm going to put 4 more grams on top, which probably isn't going to be too many. Come on, scale. Alright, I'm just going to spread those around. That way you've got a lovely taste of butterscotch in every bite on top. So here's what the product looks like. I'm gonna put it in the oven, depending on what consistency you wanna bake it till. If you take it out at 20 minutes, it's gonna be a little gooey on the inside still, which I kinda like, but if you want it cooked completely through so it tastes more like a cake consistency, bake it for about 25 minutes. So we'll get this in the oven, we'll see you when it's all. Alright guys, so I cooked my oatmeal bake in the oven for a total of 20 minutes because like I said, I prefer mine a little softer on the inside, but what you can always do for a little test is take a toothpick, put it on the inside, and depending on how wet it comes out, you know, if it doesn't come out wet, then it should be cooked all the way through if you want to avoid it being wet at all on the inside. But like I said, I like that gooiness, and the butterscotch chips are in there, so it's going to be nice and melty and deliciousness. It's gonna be a little hot, but I'll take a little spoon to the inside of it. Macros on this, like I said, are really good. I just got done working out, so I kind of wanted a nice balance of protein, carbs, and fat. So this ends up being about 10 grams of fat, 25 grams of protein, and I think it was about 40 or 50 carbs. So this ended up being perfect for me, but you guys can easily adjust based on what your macro needs are and what you're looking to do. Tastes delicious. I'm scared I'm gonna burn my mouth though, so I'm gonna go ahead and dig into this once it cools down. Don't forget to get all your MTS needs at tigerfitness.com. Tons of good stuff coming your way. I'm like dropping pieces of apple all over the place. Don't forget to go subscribe to my channel to follow all my other great recipes, workout tips, nutritional tips, etc. So thanks guys, give this a like if you enjoyed, we'll see you soon.